Hey everybody, it's GombletX, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we'll be playing another premiere draft of Wilds of Eldraine with alchemy cards added in. There's going to be one in every pack, and they are all going to do some unique to digital mechanics, like a golden opportunity here. This can conjure up a gilded goose onto the battlefield under your control, and then it's going to let you start tapping that goose and sacrificing its food tokens to produce some golden eggs, and those golden eggs will draw you a card when they hit the board. So if all goes well and your opponent doesn't blow up your goose in response to this, this can be quite a bit of value for only 3 mana here. Now I think this is probably not the greatest, because there is a lot of good cheap interaction in this format, like Candy Grapple and Torch the Tower, and if your opponent does kill your bird, then you just spent 3 mana to get their removal spell out of their hand. Didn't do anything else with it, but I do want to try out a lot of these new alchemy cards, so I am still going to just roll with a golden opportunity, pack one, pick one. If we were strictly trying to take the best card there, I think the black removal spell out of that pack was pretty good, the 2 mana Saga, for the potential best card in the pack, but we'll see if we can't get some golden opportunities in this draft. For pack 1, pick 2, we've got another great alchemy card. I actually think this one might be even better than Golden Opportunity, and probably is. This is the Second Little Pig, which is a hybrid mana card, so you can play it in a white deck or a black deck, and it'll be great in either. It's a 2 mana 2/3, already above the rate in terms of power and toughness for its mana cost, and once you hit 4 mana, you can spend 4 mana at instant speed to turn this into a 4/4 flyer for the rest of the game. So Second Little Pig is really nice. It gives you a solid 2 mana creature to play on curve that then upgrades into a great 4-drop to play turn 4. Really like the Second Little Pig here, and it can go green-black or green-white. We can go either direction with this thing, or we don't even have to be married to our Golden Opportunity first pick here. We could end up in just some other white or black deck, so I'm going to take the Second Little Pig there, get some more of that alchemy sweetness. For pack 1, pick 3, we don't see any new cards in this pack. What we do see is a Restless Fortress, which is going to be great fixing towards getting that Second Little Pig into our deck, either way that we go. Whether we're white or black, this will be at least half on color for a dual land, and if we go full on black-white, it will be full on color, so I think I'm just going to take the Fortress here. Tangle Span Lookout can be pretty good if you play a lot of roll tokens and stuff to try to draw a lot of cards off of it. Veteran can be great for aggressive decks. I think these are probably the best non-rare cards in the pack, or a Feed the Cauldron here, but with the nice little hybrid black-white pig, I think taking a black-white duel is not bad at all. For pack 1, pick 4 now, we see a Grow Old Together as the alchemy card, which I'm a little less excited about than the pig. But it does seem pretty good. 3 mana to draw 2 creatures, almost guaranteed, and give all of the creatures in your hand +1/+1, so you make them even better on curve. We do have 1 green card already, could head towards green-blue. This is also sort of a ramp card. It's a really slow ramp card, but the Gilded Goose can sacrifice those food tokens to give you mana. I feel like Monstrous Rage is probably just the best card in the pack. Does so much for so little. Very small investment mana-wise, so just a really big combat trick that gets tons of extra damage in throughout the game, so Monstrous Rage is probably the number 1, but let's just keep taking alchemy cards here, and then just see, by the end of pack 1, what looks to be the most open color pair, and we'll just play that color pair and have some amount of new cards we get to play around with and build around with. And here for pick 5, I think Paths of Twin Veil is actually a pretty sweet alchemy card. I've only played against it once, but it was pretty impressive looking to me there, even if all they did was kill my token in that game. This is going to bounce a creature you control and a creature your opponent controls, or either or. You get to spend it however you want. You bounce their creature and make it cost 1 more. If you bounce your own creature, you make it cost 1 less. So if you're using this to protect your creature from removal, you're making it easier to recast in the future, get its enter the battlefield effect and stuff like this. And if you are using it as a tempo play to slow down your opponent, you're also taxing their recasting of the creature, which is really nice. So I think Paths of Twin Veil is actually pretty sweet. Now we have the First Little Pig, which is main deckable artifact and enchantment removal. Not much to say about it other than that. It's not really any more exciting than that. Then there's Genealogist and Diminisher Witch for a solid filler green card, a solid filler blue card. Yeah, we're getting late into the packs where things are certainly less exciting. I think those are the best cards. The Pig, the Genealogist, the Witch, all pretty filler, but I'll take the first little pig to go with the second little pig. And for pack 1, pick 7 here. It's a Crystal Grotto, which can help us splash around if we're playing a less aggressive, more grindy kind of deck. Or we could take a Cheeky House Mouse for aggressive white strategies, or a Transmuter for defensive blue strategies. I think these are my favorite 3. And I'm not really committed much to anything, so I'll take the Crystal Grotto for now. And get some fixing. Pick 8. Very weak stuff here. None of this I'd be interested in playing basically at all in any deck. Maybe Water Wings, counter a removal spell. Maybe Galvanic Giant if we have a ton of ramp, so we can use that Storm Reading card draw spell or something. I highly doubt any of this ends up making the cut. Sure, I'll get the highest rarity card. We'll take the Galvanic Giant, I guess. And pick 9, maybe green-blue with our Grow Old together is going to be a decent place to be, because we did get an Elusive Otter to come all the way back around. Not that it's an incredible card, but the Grove's Bounty is a really nice adventure, so if you can get that adventure and a creature off this card, you're getting pretty good value, so we'll take the Elusive Otter here. Curiosity can do some things if you really draft around it and have a million flyers and unblockable creatures and stuff, but it's pretty hard to get that one to work. Very easy to get Return from the Wilds to work, even if you're not trying to splash in a third color. This can help ramp you into some of the big green creatures that the set has a lot of, so very happy to take Return from the Wilds. It works as excellent fixing or excellent ramp, whatever you need. I am not into any of these cards. I will take a Merry Bards, though. That has been fine filler for aggressive strategies. And some more stuff we're probably not playing at this point. Mainly looks like we're probably some kind of blue-green mush pile. That's what we're going to end up being, but see if we can't find some more powerful cards to really solidify ourselves into an archetype. And pack 2, pick 1 certainly gives us a powerful card. Twining Twins. 4 mana for a 4/4 Flying Vigilance Ward 1. Just a lot of stats for that mana cost. Huge evasive threat to close out the game pretty quickly. I'm going to take the Twining Twins here. For the Alchemy card of this pack, it's a pretty interesting one. It is an enter the battlefield tapped land that one time lets you scry 3 and like tap and stun your opponent's next creature that they play, which is really weird, really interesting to have a land with like a one-time ability like this, but I don't know, it's kind of cute. Twining Twins, definitely way better. Just a huge flyer for the mana cost. Speaking of cards that are huge for the mana cost, welcome to Sweet Tooth. One of the best uncommons in the set. All by itself, it's going to give you a 1/1 a food token and 2 +1/+1 counters. So 2 mana for a 3/3 and a food. It's kind of the worst case scenario. And sometimes it's even better. If you have other food production, if you have other creatures to put the tokens onto, you can do some crazy stuff. So definitely a welcome to Sweet Tooth here. Sorry to the very cool looking Alchemy Otter there. And sorry to anybody who wanted to read the Alchemy Otter, but we can do it this pack even though we're not going to take it. The Accident Prone Apprentice. It is a little combat trick to turn something into a 1/1, and then it is a creature that just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger every time you cast a non-creature spell. So kind of one of these Spell Gorger weird style cards that keeps getting bigger. The cool thing about this, since it's an alchemy card, is it can get bigger while it's in exile, while it's just sitting there on an adventure. So that's pretty neat. Anyways, pick 3, we are going to splash on a Fawn's Bane Troll. This thing is nuts. It is multiple removal spells on a stick if you can put multiple roll tokens onto it, but even if you can't, it is going to hit the board and fight something off as a big 4/4, which is quite nice. So I'm going to take that for a potential splash here. Maybe green, blue, splash, black is how we're looking right now. And how much Conjuring am I currently doing? Do I have enough Conjuring for the third little pig? I don't think so. You would need to have somehow drafted a multitude of alchemy cards that we just don't have here. I don't think I'm doing any Conjuring, even though I have multiple alchemy cards. I guess a Golden Opportunity. I have one card in the deck that does some Conjuring, but it does do a lot of Conjuring. So it's pretty cool with that, but I think we got to take Edgewall in here, which is really, really nice fixing, being able to just hit the board as whatever color of mana we need. And this can also be graveyard recursion late in the game to pick up one of our cards that had an adventure on it, which could be something like a Twining Twins, pick up a big flyer later in the game. Could do a lot of stuff. That's a pick 5 Imidane's Recruiter? That's nuts. What is this alchemy rare? Tome of Gadwick. 1 mana for an equipment and 1 to equip. When an equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, conjure a random card from the spellbook to your hand. So a bunch of 1 mana card draw spells. That's very cute, but not great unless, again, you have a bunch of cheap little flyers and stuff. I'm just gonna take Imidane's Recruiter, and I don't even think it works in this deck. I think it's just criminal that this thing is going around pick 5. So gonna hate draft, even though that's like literally never correct on Arena. Maybe we'll get it in somehow with enough fixing. For pack 2, pick 6 now, there's Prophetic Prism to up the fixing count, or another Paths of Twin Veil for some more bounce to slow our opponent down. I think those are the best cards. The Gatekeeper's nice too, though, a bounce spell that has a 6/5 attached. Actually pretty low on top end stuff. I'll actually take the Gatekeeper here, because it functions as both your early interaction and like your finisher, even if it's not a super impressive finisher. Super fine. Ice Rot Sentry's pretty fine. That mid-range mana cost can help get a lot of damage in when it starts jamming in and tapping things down. Pick 8 now. Nothing I'm excited about. I guess we can try out this weird little land, because we do look pretty blue-green. Just take all of this weird little land. All of the Loch Lorentz. Sure. We will be the slowest deck in the draft pod. Now we'll grab a Curse the Werefox for pretty solid removal. Very happy to take a second Gatekeeper as more 2 mana interaction to speed our deck up a little bit. And let's see. Now this is 2 mana interaction. All the Gatekeepers, oh my god, there we go. Alright, I was actually getting pretty concerned there in the first half of this pack, but then triple Gatekeeper really made this like an actual deck. Like if you just Gatekeeper your opponent's early aggro plays every game to slow them down, and then just return from the wilds into the 6/5, like slow them down long enough to start resolving 6/5s, and it's hard for most aggressive decks to get through them, so we can just try to be the big green ramp deck. The alchemy card out of this pack, Heir to Dragonfire, is pretty cool. Very powerful aggressive card, but we are in pack 3 now. It is too late to try to pivot onto the red, even though red would have been a crazy place to be with pick 5 Recruiter and stuff running around. But for our deck here, we're most interested in a Root Rider Fawn that can ramp into all of these 6-drops and filter our mana to help cast our off-color Fawn's Bane Troll style cards. Plus, it's a 2 mana 1/3, so it's a nice early game blocker as well against 2/2s and 1/1s and stuff. So definitely very into that card. And for pack 3, pick 2, we could splash in the Harried Dash Adventure on the Steady Tortoise, which is very cute. You definitely have to have access to the adventure to make this a good card, because you really want it sitting in exile as long as possible to get those +1/+1s. So I wouldn't... this is one that I wouldn't play without being able to do the adventure really consistently, really early. And if we splash it in, we won't be doing it early that often. Yeah, I actually think Splash in Charade is probably better than Splash in Tortoise. But we are already splashing black, so I could also try to splash in the black removal spell out of that pack, but it was a pretty slow one. An X mana removal spell. Pack 3, pick 3. If you've watched me draft this format a couple times, you know what's about to happen here, and nothing can stop me. I'm taking Utopia Sprawl. 1 mana mana ramp, 1 mana mana fixing and ramp at the same time. Just have to run a pretty high forest count to make sure that it happens, but it is so good when it does. We could also splash in a Greta or play a second Grow Old together, but I'm taking that Utopia Sprawl. I love that card. Pack 3, pick 4. Definitely too late in the draft to find enough ways to bargain for the hatching plans to make it in, but that card is very good when you find enough ways to bargain. We can take an Ironcrag for more ramp, but now we do have Utopia Sprawl and Root Rider Fawn and Return from the Wilds, which is pretty significant, so I think I'm safe to actually take Evolving Wilds here over the Ironcrag. We can get a 1-of Swamp in this deck and really have the easiest Fawn's Bane Troll splash. I think that'd be okay. I don't know, I guess the Ironcrag's also a rare, so it's like more gems for the collection. Actually greeting myself into taking the Ironcrag there. Prophetic Prism's fine. Butcher's probably an okay splash. Beanstalk Worm's fine. I'll take the Prism here. We saw another Gatekeeper in the pack that we opened up, I think, and with how last pack went, we can probably just wheel every single balloon as Gatekeeper and just have that be the top end. I don't think I need the 5 mana 5/4 here. So let's get the Prism for more fixing. Frolicking Familiars, super reasonable here. 3 mana 2/2 flyer at worst. And at best, we randomly have a Prism or a Crystal Grotto for some red mana. And then we can maybe clear something out with it and play the flyer, which is great. Definitely take another Gatekeeper. I will just take infinite copies of that in this kind of deck. Again, it just fills 2 roles that this deck once filled, like really, really well. I'm going to be tapping out a lot. I don't know if I can hold up for a counter spell, but Ice Out is the strongest card in this pack. Yeah, I'll take the Ice Out still. But yeah, Gatekeeper just filling out the 2-drop slot with interaction and the 6-drop slot with finishers. I love it for this kind of deck, and we're just going to be the 5 Gatekeeper deck. And I think we can use Candy Trail perfectly fine. Don't know if we will, but we can. Get another Grow Old together. The really cool thing about this is with 5 copies of the Gatekeeper, it's also like drawing us interaction. It's drawing us the bounce spells as well. So yeah, it's gonna be a cool one. Be an interesting one. Grab the Witch Stalker this time. I've already got 1 Misleading Motes that I'm not that excited about trying to play. All right, we have a lot of room to cut what we want here. So, what have we got? 46 cards? I guess we had a lot of lands in here. Yeah, we had 2 Loch Lorent, a Restless Fortress, a Crystal Grotto, and an Edgewall in. So yeah, we have 6 cards we can cut now. Don't think I'm trying to splash in the second little pig, because it would require double white or double black. Requires like the double splash to really get there in the end. Oh, I forgot Arena ruined my my full arts. So let's put the favorites on again. Wow, it undid them all? I know that I put the correct favorite lands on. For white and red at least, but those aren't even on anymore. So I'm just going to have to go through and re-favorite every single draft again. Alright, well, you know, you win some, you lose some with Arena. They fixed the deck builder to where now I can actually have my creatures and non-creatures in separate piles without lagging everything up. But at the cost of breaking favorite lands, at least on my end, on my client. Maybe that's still working for you and it's just all upside. I'm definitely not playing a plains in this deck. I think I will play 1-of Swamp. Okay, we'll edit that mana base again after we choose our complete deck list, but that is it for now. But yeah, look, it's fixed. There's no lag in the deck builder. Let's go. All right, so these are 2-mana bounce spells. And our finishers at the top of the curve. I'm gonna cut 5 cards out of here. I'm definitely not that excited about the first little pig. It's main deckable artifact enchantment removal, but just a 2/2 on curve. Witch Stalker also not the most exciting. With 5 entry denieds to be playing turn 2, I don't think we need that many 2-drops. I guess I'll prioritize the Alchemy card. We'll play the pig over the Witch Stalker, but I think either would be reasonable cuts. Galvanic Giant, just really slow for the mana cost on either end of the card. Kind of want to drop that down. We're very low on interaction here, so I think we gotta keep Curse of the Werefox at least. I don't know about misleading motes. We gotta try to just have Ice Out at the right time. With Root Rider Fawn and Return from the Wilds and Utopia Sprawl, I think Ironcrag is the least exciting of our ramp spells, because Root Rider Fawn, we get to play that for a ramp spell and a blocker. Return from the Wilds, we get to play that as a ramp spell and a blocker. And those are both also ramp and fixing, and Utopia Sprawl is just much more mana efficient at 1 mana to get a mana out of it, and it's also mana fixing, whereas the Ironcrag is just colorless mana, it's just mana ramp, it's not a blocker. It can be an equipment later, but it's a very bad equipment later in the game. So I think that's our worst of the mana ramp cards, and I don't think I actually need an insane amount to where I want to play all of them. So I'm going to drop the Ironcrag here too. Maybe a Leaping Ambush. It's cut out of here. We had 17 lands. This is 16 lands. So we probably do want 17 at the bare minimum in this deck, even with this ramp. So need to consider cutting 3 cards instead of just 2. I don't love the mana sink sort of nature of the Ice Rot Sentry, but it is really nice if we draw it alongside Charade. And it's just a decent body. I don't want to cut that low on creatures, especially with double Grow Old together being our big kind of card draw spell. Really wants to have 2 creatures in our top 10. This is a 13 creature count deck. I really don't want to go much lower than that to be super safe. I guess 10 cards is a lot of cards. 10 cards is a quarter of our library. So, I mean, if we only had 4 creatures in the deck, we're on average going to see 1 out of every 10 cards. If we have 8, we're on average going to see 2 out of every 10 cards. So yeah, 13 I think gives us enough breathing room to pretty consistently hit the double creature off Grow Old together. But yeah, I still kind of don't want to drop more, because I really, really don't ever want to miss on this and have just 1 creature in my top 10. So I think I'm still going to just not cut creatures here. Do I have any like crazy synergies with passive Twin Veil? Do I have any creatures with good enter the battlefield effects to recast? Yeah, I've got a Charade. Got a Fawn's Bane Troll. I've got adventures to recast, like the Grove's Bounty, the Entry Denied, and the Blow Off Steam. Yeah, I think paths could be interesting here at least. We'll still play it. Yeah, I guess I am just going to drop a little more interaction, get rid of the misleading motes and the Leaping Ambush, and cross my fingers a bit here. We can just hit the Fawn's Bane Troll or the Ice Out or the Curse of the Werefox at the right time when they've got something too scary. And against all the little aggro decks, we just bounce everything, and then we deal with it by just having bigger creatures later. We just have 6/5s against all their 3/3s and 3/1s and 2/1s and all that. And I think this is pretty reasonable. I mean, let's see how the mana looks. I kind of want to look at the mana myself rather than look at the strict numbers here, because hybrid mana it gets a little confused with. And I want to see how important each color really is. I think it's just going to be a bunch of green-blue sources. That's it, right? We've got 1 black card and 1 white card. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 10, 11 blue cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green. 7, 8, 9, 10 green cards. 14 blue cards, but green gives us Utopia Sprawl and Root Rider Fawn and Return from the Wilds, so green is at least equally important to blue. And we're currently at 6 natural blue sources and 6 natural green sources. Grotto could be either, the Edgewall Inn could be either, and we have our Prophetic Prism for any color. We have our Utopia Sprawl We have to choose the second we play Utopia Sprawl, so I don't really want to count that as any color. But it sort of is. Root Rider Fawn definitely is, because we can filter later. So we have Prism and Root Rider Fawn at least filtering for any color at any time that we draw them. And Crystal Grotto, so that's 3. So that's 3 sources for Charade, 4 with the Restless Fortress. I mean, that looks good. Maybe... Honestly, because I want more green sources and I want more forests for Utopia Sprawl, we might have to cut the swamp, which would then turn Return from the Wilds into not really fixing. Like, all it can do is grab an island or a forest, which is sort of fixing, but not for the splashes. Yeah, and then I guess I just cut that for another land because I forgot that I'm still at 16 lands. So that would put me up to 17 lands, and then we don't have Return from the Wilds ramp anymore, but if I reopen the deck, look at the curve here, it doesn't seem that bad to not have that much ramp. Yeah, I've got 5, 6 drops, but they're helping us at 2 mana, even if I don't hit the full 6. They're still slowing our opponent down, they're still being bounce spells. I don't think it's that insane to cut Return from the Wilds here. And I think I am going to run it like this. Alright, here's a look at the completed deck list for today. We're on a bit of a blue-green ramp deck, trying out a lot of the new alchemy cards. We've got 5 Balluna's Gatekeeper as kind of the linchpin of this deck. They're going to be slowing our opponent down in the early game and being some of our finishers, just plopping down a bunch of 6/5s against an opponent who hopefully just has smaller cards on average. So we get to slow down their smaller cards and then outclass them with bigger creatures later in the game. For the unique stuff to Alchemy, in this deck we have the Golden Opportunity, giving us a Gilded Goose and maybe drawing us some cards off making some golden eggs as well. We've got a couple Grow Old Together, which can draw 2 creatures from our top 10 cards and buff all the creatures in our hand, which could be pretty decent. Definitely nice to have the instant speed card draw with our 1 instant speed counterspell of the ice out here. And I think that's basically it for the spicy alchemy stuff we're trying to brew around a little bit. It's mainly the Grow Old Togethers because we've got 2 copies of those, so that should be pretty interesting. And we've got a little bit of a theme deck here, which is pretty cute. We've got the Fawn's Bane Troll off of the splash as probably the strongest card in the deck, being able to fight a creature off and just be a large creature on the board at the same time. And to go with the Fawn's Bane Troll, we have the double Grow Old Together, so very flavorful to have that alongside the card with the troll falling in love with the human over here. So very cute, very adorable, and hopefully at least a decent deck here, but we'll see how it all pans out as we head into the gameplay and see how it does. Here we are for game 1 on the draw. Got that edge ball in for probably a blue source for Grow Old Together since we have the Prophetic Prism to splash out the troll. We're going to keep this hand. Off of the lands that we already have, we can play the first little pig in the Prism. The Prism draws us another card, so we'll draw 3 cards total before we need to hit the 3rd land. Actually 4 cards because we draw during turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, and off of Prism, since we are on the draw. We hit another green source, so in is definitely not going to be on green here. I think I am going to immediately get the tap land out of the way, and I'll choose blue for it. Do find Loch Laurent. Play another tap land this turn. I don't think I've got time to do that right now. Although I really want to cast Grow Old Together turn 3, so maybe I have to get Prism down before I can cast Troll, though, is the awkward thing. But I don't want to play Troll till I have 5 mana, because I want to fight something immediately with it. So I guess we can, like, Prism this turn, and then play an untapped land, Grow Old Together the turn after that. And then we can play a tap land on turn 4, because I don't need an untapped land till 5 mana. There's a Howling Gale Fang from our opponent that they get to play turn 3, thanks to the Beanstalk Worm's Adventure to play another land. And we're going to take a lot of extra damage from that, because that is 1 mana value too high for Gatekeeper because they ramped up here. So the double Gatekeeper looking super awkward this game. So I'm going to play a land and just cast our Grow Old together. But it's actually looking really bad for us. They're going to play a 4-4 on turn 3 and a 5-4 on turn 4 if they hit another land here. And not only a 4-4 on turn 3, but a 4-4 Vigilance Haste on turn 3. So we're taking quite some hits here. And both those cards are too big for the Troll to fight something off and survive. So the Troll's not even going to help actually kill those cards. Actually, no, Grow Old together will make the Troll big enough to do the fight. Ooh, and there's a Dunbarrow? I hate that word so much. Dunbarrow Revivalist, which is really, really nice. It means the next creature they play is going to come with a Wicked Roll attached. They could also bargain with it when they play it to return a creature from the graveyard to their hand. Alright, cool. So thanks to the Grow Old together, when we do play a Troll, it is big enough to fight a 4-4. So play a 2-4 blocker against the 3-1, or do I just bounce a 3-1 back to their hand? Definitely playing the tap land here. Let's play the tap land. I guess if I bounce the 3-1 back, they get the boon again. What does it mean, one-time boon? I don't understand what it means when it says one-time boon. But I guess we'll find out. I'll just bounce that and see if when they replay it, they get the boon again. Is one-time boon like kind of like perpetually, where you get the boon once and if you try to get it again, you don't? It's already done the thing? I have no idea. Because there were boons in the past that would be like, you get a boon that says when you play your next creature, put a +1/+1 counter on it or something. And it didn't call those one-time boons. Maybe that was an update to the wording or something. Alright, well that is not good. Another 4-4 from our opponent. Now I need to play the Troll. Fight a 4-4. I think it really matters which one I kill. And then now I've got a 5-5 blocker up against their 4-4. Fingers crossed they don't got the removal for it. Well, if they have a combat trick that's good enough to kill the Troll here, it would also pretty easily be good enough to kill me at 7 life right now. So I believe I have to declare this block. I guess it could be like a Candy Grapple or something. If it was a Candy Grapple, they could have just sacked the Redemption and killed the Troll. Could be like the +1/+1 thing and then these trade, and that's fine. If it's +4/+4, I die if I don't block. Rat out, maybe? -1/-1. After combat here. I have 5 mana up next turn. I could play my Pig and put a curse on it, make it a 4-4 and fight with something. Not big enough to kill Galefang. I'm gonna make this block here. See if they have the rat out, I guess. Probably what they have. The one part of this that's really rough that makes me kind of want to not block is then I just have a significantly smaller creature to try to use Curse of the Werefox's removal with. If this does die here, which it's almost 100% going to. Oh, it's the Leaping Ambush. It's the least popular of all the combat tricks. It's not the big Titanic growth, and it is not the put a Royal Roll onto it. That one's the most popular. That one's really good. Yep, well that is pretty gross. Now they have a 6/6 trample next turn. And I can't do anything about it. can play my pig and fight it and then have no board state. But then I take 0 damage next turn. Might be the best bet. We've got more ways to get card advantage. Can also just use this to exile the Redemption so they don't get the trample swing, but then I still take the Galefang damage anyway. Alright, so that was probably the biggest turning point where things could have went differently. If they have another trick here, then I don't think it matters. But if they literally just had Leaping Ambush, then it would have been better to just take the damage. It looked like they had another trick here. They keep looking at their hand. Yeah, they do. They have Puny Snack also? Okay, then I don't think it really matters. Because then we would have went to 2 life. It would be our turn with the Fawnsbane Troll on board. And then I would try to make the 6/6 Fawnsbane Troll fight the Galefang. And then they could just Puny Snack the Troll, so it's a 4/4, and Leaping Ambush their Galefang. So it's a 5/7. I guess we'd actually be at 3 life. But yeah, then they would kill the Troll and blank our removal spell and keep their whole board. But I do think that would have been better. It's just not a good matchup for us here, really. Our main form of interaction is only good against small stuff, and our opponent ramped to the 4 drops on turn 3 on the play, so they just ramped right over our interaction. So we will get crushed by the big creatures and start off 0-1 heading into game 2. Here we are for game 2 on the draw again. Oh no, don't reveal that, turn 1. Reveal one of the best rares in the format, turn 1, with the Gumdrop Poisoner. It's going to let them eat a food and cast the Poisoner on turn 5 to eat any of my 3 toughness or less creatures. Luckily, this opponent is actually playing some mana value 3 or less creatures, so we do get to slow them down by a little bit of time here. Find our Utopia Sprawl, which we're going to have to put Utopia Sprawl on black here for Fawnsbane Troll. And cast Sentry for the turn because I don't get to hold up a blue mana. Or I don't get to hold up double blue if I want to get the Utopia Sprawl mana the turn that I play it. Alright. Put a Wicked Roll on that little pig. If they make it to 4 mana, that pig is going to be not so little anymore. But they're stuck on double swamp. So now does seem like a pretty great time to try to just punish them for keeping the 2-lander. And just... okay, they're just going to concede. I was going to say, we just clear the board here and then slam in for as much damage as we can while they have to wait to hit their lands to try to get to that like 5 mana Gumdrop Poisoner, the 3 mana Conceited Witch and stuff, and they are already over it. So we're going to start off 1-1 now, heading into game 3. Here we are now for game number 3 on the draw again. Back at it again, always on the draw, which is actually fine with us with this deck. I should probably mulligan this, but you all know I am a greedy Wario of a man, and when I see that I can play turn 2 Welcome to Sweet Tooth, I'm going to keep Unreasonable Hands. There we go. Now we're on a 3-lander. I am going to guarantee the turn 2 Welcome to Sweet Tooth here. Probably a very large argument for putting the Edge Wall in on black here for the Fawnsbane Troll later. I want to make sure I'm doing some stuff early, because we don't even know when we're going to have the 5 mana, and as we've seen in other games, I really prefer to play Fawnsbane Troll once I have 5 mana total. So I get the insta-fight before my opponent untaps. It's another mirror match. I want to play against the red decks so badly. I think our matchup against red is actually pretty fun. And pretty decent. What is this fluffy creature? Whenever you cast an adventure, this perpetually gets +1/+1. And if it's on the battlefield, exile it with a fetch counter? When you cast a spell from exile, put it on the what? So it just gets bigger when you play more adventures and stuff? That's super weird. I'll trade and see if I can get the counters onto the little pig instead. Obviously, if they have removal for the little pig, then they won't get some counters onto it. Okay, so when they cast an adventure, Hex goes on to an adventure with whatever went on an adventure. It goes off on a journey with them. And then when you cast that card from exile, Hex comes back onto the board from exile. Okay, that's a very cute design, but also very confusing. So it tags along for all of the adventures and gets bigger every time. That is pretty adorable. Well, they let me get my 4/4. And just try to hit them with it. Yeah, so we're stuck on 3 mana here. Guess I just hold up an ice out and hit them for 4 a turn. That kills them in 5 turns if they don't do anything. So we'll just see if they don't do anything. They only have 3 cards in hand. Make a 2/4 Root Rider Fawn, that's chill. They tap out for the 4/3, that's also chill. So then I can curse the Werefox it. I guess it's not quite tapping out. They've got 2 mana up for a potential trick. Yeah, they could have Titanic Growth or something here. That'd be kind of bad. Do I try to just bounce the Root Rider Fawn then? And don't even try to fight the Werefox? So we know they could have done something with their mana last turn, because they were sitting there. I think I just go for it here. But at the same time, bouncing the Fawn doesn't seem that exciting to me either, so I'll just hold up the ice out. Okay, whatever they had seems like it was probably sorcery speed, because when I passed through my turn, it just went right to them. They did not have a second thought about anything, so they're not even playing in full control or anything like that. Alright, they're just going to get their scry. My next creature hits the board tapped and stunned now. Cool. Now I have to discard a card if I'm just trying to hold up the ice out, so I kind of have to cast something. But then they're just going to resolve some obnoxious threat. Alright, well, let's do the curse, I guess. Clear that out of here. I guess I was supposed to attack first. Very bad about that with my green removal spells. Very bad about mixing up fight spells and bite spells. Where I'm like, I do this pre-combat, right? No, it's a fight spell, not a bite spell. You're putting damage on the creature. Gotta do it post-combat. This is going to be the funnest part of the game, where we bounce Ingenious Prodigy turn after turn. This is going to be hilarious. Because of the prowess, do I play the Otter here? So I can kill them in 2 swings? Right, they replay it, I bounce it, attack for 6 or 7. Then they replay it and I ice out. Yeah, I'm going to be using all my mana for the next several turns, so let's just play the Otter. Get the stun out of the way. I forgot about that, honestly. But that's actually even better. Now that I know they had that too. Yes! They're just tapping out for it. And now I can hold up the counter for it. Balluna's Gatekeeper Dream Team. 5 Gatekeepers and a Dream. And now they just, if they tap out for it again, they're dead. Because we just counter it. I could even just bounce it. I don't even have to counter it. They have to do something else here. That is something else, and that is definitely getting countered. Oh my god, yes, Balluna's Gatekeeper Dream Team. Unstoppable, just the most unstoppable of Dream Teams of all time. Oop, that's the wrong spell. I'm trying to cast the other Alchemy card. Just bounce everything all of the time and get there in the end. Oh, that is not how I thought the end of that game was going to go. Once we got to the point where we had to cast something to not discard the hand size, I was kind of confident they were just going to slam down a giant bomb and it was going to be an issue. And they tried, but their giant bomb just so happens to technically be mana value 3 or less, which means it's time for the Gatekeeper squad to just completely counteract every play they make for the entire last few turns of the game. That was some nasty stuff from the Balluna's Gatekeeper Dream Team, and we are now 2-1 heading into Game 4. Here we are now for Game 4 with beautiful mana. We've got the black source for Fawn's Bane Troll off the Restless Fortress. We have the blue source for Grow Old Together off Utopia Sprawl. Loving this. Our opponent goes for the turn 1/1 with haste off of the Steady Tortoise, getting its little bunny friend. I, again, like playing the troll at 5 mana and not 4 mana, so I'm going to set up to cast Grow Old Together this turn, and then play the tap land when I would have 4 mana, and my untapped land when I would have 5. That's how we're going to curve out. 2 mountains from our opponent, so probably a pretty aggressive red deck, but no play turn 2. Here's the Grow Old Together. Buff everybody up and get the tap land out of the way now. Play a 3/3 pig or a 2/4 fawn. I've already got the mana at this point to just play the bigger creature. Let's play the first little pig. There's a Witch's Mark onto the bunny to make it a 2/2. And our opponent, more importantly, gets to discard a card and draw 2. Discarding a mountain. Probably looking for a forest, but they could be red-black splashing the tortoise in off a treasure. This is definitely like a rat out here. Which I think it's not worth it. Ooh, Gatekeeper is very good in this matchup. And then I can save Troll for something else. That's pretty fine. Yeah, let's save the Troll for something else here. Gatekeeper is beautiful against tokens. Just fully kill that thing. Send in for 3 and drop a Root Rider Fawn in the second main phase. It's a hopeless nightmare. There goes the forest. And they just pass the turn. Another grow old together? I'm probably just casting a 6/5 though, right? At this point. Yeah, plop out our biggest threat on the board. Technically this is a 6/6 with a roll on it, so this is a bigger threat, but again, I don't want to play it till I need to kill something alongside it. So there's the Candy Grapple to trade into the Gatekeeper. Land 5, cast a Twisted Sewer Witch. That will be their only blocker, so now is as good a time as any to kill that with a Fawn's Bane Troll. Get that off the board and send in for 5. As from there, they have been known to play discard spells, so keep this bonus forest for that. I'm gonna just take it here. Because they're at 9 and we have another removal spell in hand. So I don't really want to put my troll at any extra risk. Yes, they just tap out to kill it now with a big X mana spell. Let's grow old together. Let's see what we draw into. I should not have let it tap my island there. I don't know why the auto tapper would do that instead of tapping a forest. I've got another forest in hand. But I guess it's because I had no blue cards in the hand, but I was casting a card draw spell, so obviously holding up a blue would be better. I need to stop using the auto tapper at all. I'm too lazy. So is it better to hit for 5 or hit for 3 and kill the rat with Gatekeeper? I guess I can hit for 5 and have like a chump blocker left over, thanks to Welcome to Sweet Tooth, so I think that's pretty reasonable to do. If I didn't let the auto tapper do things, and I did tap the other forest, and then I could have killed the rat instead of playing Welcome to Sweet Tooth and still hit them for 5, which I think would have been the best of both worlds. Hit for the full damage and be very safe on the crackback. At 11 here, and they only have 2 mana up. I'll take this. Let's bounce the 1 blocker and see if that's enough here. That is gonna be enough. That gives us the 3rd victory now, I believe. 3-1? At least gonna be a nice, even 50-50 win rate run at worst. And if we continue at this pace, could even get in the money pretty soon. So see if we can't keep it up as we head into round 5. Here we are for game number 5, where the lack of a blue source I think is going to force a mulligan here. We have a double blue card, and our best cards in the hand are blue. The only thing we're doing without the blue mana is the first little pig, which doesn't do much. I believe we got a mulligan that one, and this is really nice. It's super nice mana-wise, and it also helps make up for the fact that we mulliganed with the grow old together here. So we're going to try to cast Grow Old Together before we play anything except the Fawn. I still need to play the mana to work immediately. There's an Accident-Prone Apprentice immediately from our opponent. I guess now I could just play Utopia Sprawl instead of Root Rider Fawn and then have that get the Grow All Together buff too, but... I don't know. It also lets me just play Twins turn 3 because it can get a blue mana. You know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to set up so I can just play Twins turn 3 if that looks good. And then even if I don't, just means our Grow Old Together is going to be even stronger. Buffing up even more of our cards. Yeah, all they have is a 1/1 here. I think it's perfectly reasonable to just jam out a 4/4 Flying Vigilance. It's got Ward 1 as well. Against the red-black deck, their cut-in would cost them 5 mana. Candy Grapple, they need to find something to bargain away. So the 2 common removal spells that would be able to kill twins can't do it yet. Let's see. Should jam it in for 4. Poke them every turn. Cool, cool, cool. Now I can play my 2 non-creatures without losing the Grow Old Together buff. And still setting things up pretty well and being a little more mana efficient. I'm playing the 3-drop right now. I think this is super, super fine. And it sets up to where if they don't find the cheap enough removal to kill twins, I can just make it even bigger. With some +1/+1 counters, which could be real gross. Ooh, there's the rat out for our 1/1. That's pretty good. Buffs the Apprentice as well. Our opponent could start making chump attacks with Apprentice, and I would just never block at this point already. So there's Voracious Vermin. No attacks? Alright. Love to see no attacks from our opponent, because again, even if they didn't have any tricks to make the Apprentice big enough to trade in twins, I would not be taking that bluff. I would just be not blocking. So... don't have the mana to cast Grow Old Together and something else. Do I want to just slow them down? Bounce the Vermin here? I think Root Rider Fawn's already pretty decent on board, so we'll go for a Root Rider Fawn and 1 Gatekeeper. If they replay the Vermin, they get more rats. I'd rather bounce the Apprentice. Because to use its adventure, they need to find a treasure token or something. And it doesn't have any enter the battlefield effect when they replay it. It's a tempting apple to borrow the twins and poke me with it, but shouldn't have a way to sacrifice it for 1 mana in this format. I guess they could Witchstalker Frenzy it. Because they wouldn't have to pay the ward because it's under their control. So that would actually be super gross if they had Witchstalker Frenzy too and they attacked with everybody to reduce the cost to 1 mana for the Witchstalker Frenzy. Oh no, please tell me they don't have the uncommon sack something. How do they always get the fling combo when it's only on uncommons in this format? Oh, that's disgusting. Alright, well they're out of cards. I still did not find mana 5 for Grow Old Together plus Bounce Spell, which would easily be the best play here. Guess it's Grow Old Together Candy Trail, which means I Grow Old first and then I Candy Trail for the Scry post card draw. But then I take 5 on board with another 3 threatening to hit me. It is a lot of damage. I think I still gotta do it though. I gotta find some plays that I can actually have the mana to do. Charade is a beautiful, beautiful draw. We have the mana for that thanks to the Prism. I will keep the untapped land on top. Try to make it up to our 6 mana here. Those were some good hits. Alright, the accident-prone apprentice is here alongside the sellsword for a couple 2/2s to add to the damage they're dealing. I unfortunately don't have the mana to play Charade and bounce one of their cards. I also... Okay, if Auto Tapper's an idiot, then I don't have the mana to play Charade and a 2/2 Otter. So let's make sure not use Auto Tapper in this format. It has gotten me several times. So let's play the Charade and lock down the Apprentice, because that can be bigger than a 2/2 when it attacks. And we're hitting an untapped creature so we can draw a card. And then we need to play the Otter as well, because we just need to play blockers. We can definitely outcard advantage them over time. I don't need to get full adventure value off this Otter too. There's the Crystal Grotto, which means I will have 6 mana up next turn if I just want to play a 6/5. You hate to see that. Tap out for the 3 damage immediately. There's the Witch's Mark. Draw some cards and buff the Vermin. See what the 2 cards are off the top. Another Vermin. And the board state is so wide here that even if I start playing 6/5s and stuff, it's going to be near impossible to stabilize. Not completely impossible, but near impossible. Depends on what else they have. I think if they have literally nothing else, it would still be a little bit possible to stabilize. Just not a lot of it possible. Because I could still trade there, bounce that, and eat multiple food. So I think that is the play. Bounce the Apprentice, trade for the Vermin, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on board, but gain 6 life. So I end up at 7 after all is said and done, if they have literally nothing. But that's kind of our only hope at this point, is that they have literally nothing. Another Gatekeeper? I think that is reasonable. Should I eat Candy Trail right now? Because I could draw something that changes my play. It's not super likely, but... Oh yeah, I can draw Gatekeeper. What am I talking about? I know exactly what I'm drawing, so that would be the argument for using Trail right now. Draw into the Gatekeeper and entry denied another creature here. It's a Voracious Vermin, which they can recast and make their board state wide again. Or wider again. I don't think I actually want to entry denied Voracious Vermin right now. But there's also not a huge reason to not just Candy Trail right now. I think it matters. I think I'm going to Candy Trail and eat a food instead of Candy Trail and bounce Vermin. Because I would rather trade Otter into Vermin and bounce something else again. And so they're not going to offer the Vermin trade. Well, then I could try to Prowess to beat the Sellsword without losing a creature here. But I take a big hit to do that. I think that's probably worth it. It's another blocker next turn. So that way I stop 2 damage this turn with Otter and another lot of damage next turn with it. Down to 3 and the vermin is bigger. Play the accident-prone apprentice. Oh my god, and a rat catcher trainee. For the incredibly wide board, and it's just such an issue that they can go this wide. One of the things that makes it so hard to stabilize in this format. Just the width these creature decks can go to. Seven mana. Block, block, block. Gain 3. Block, block, block. I'm at 6, take 5. I guess. So we play the first little pig to trade into Voracious Vermin. We bounce the apprentice. But then, because this thing has first strike, I'd only be killing one of their creatures here. Still. Yeah, I'm only killing one of their creatures because the first strike. Because I go to 6, so if I do this, I take 6 and I'm dead. So I have to chump there. Find a land. Oh, and they just top deck Fireball anyway. Alright, well. We tried. Certainly tried, but there are far too many rats all across that board to compete with, and we are going to go 3-2 now as we head into Game 6. Here we are for Game 6. Edgeball in on blue, Golden Opportunity. Our first time trying to cast that spell, see if anything happens. See what it can do. We're gonna need those golden eggs, so... One of the things I did say when I drafted this card is that the big issue with it is that if your opponent kills the goose in response, you don't get what you want. You don't get what you need. And if they kill our gilded goose, then... we're gonna have a bad time mana-wise, because we need to produce those golden eggs to filter some mana for Charade and Frolicking Familiar here. So, I mean, if they just Candy Grapple or Torch Tower the Goose, it's kind of just over. Just what I said when I drafted it. But I wanted to play with new stuff, and there you go. Wilds of Eldraine called, and it said, put your fun in the trash. Golden Opportunity, not playable because of the insane efficiency of removal, especially in red and black. So the one time that we drew Golden Opportunity, we are against red-black. It's a very sad scenario all around, and I'm quite disappointed about it. It's still a 1-for-1. We still trade our goose into removal spell. But they traded a 1-mana spell into our 3-mana card, which isn't great. I don't think putting a 2-2 on this board affects the game enough to not just hold up Ice Out. It's not the scariest thing in the universe, but it is scary enough to be killing me when this is my hand. So... I will counter that. Okay. Now I can drop the pig and the familiar. Try to get as much damage as I can with these cards. Another Edgeball pack. I guess I can kill their rat at least, which is pretty cute. Oh, I forgot this familiar has prowess, so I should have killed the rat pre-combat. Although, they've got 1 mana up. They could have a rat out that they could use on their own rat to kill, like, my gatekeeper here. And I have no idea why I attacked with the pig as well here. I'm going to pretend it was some kind of, like, next level bluff. And not that I just completely brain farted and froze on that. Well, that's super duper bad. Alright, let's kill the rat. It didn't seem like they've got something up here. Yeah. Okay, so obviously that's a huge punt. A 2/2 doesn't look like it's gonna affect this game dramatically, but it would stack into a lot of extra damage to our opponent. So it's definitely a punt. But the punt I'm more sad about is that I think I should have seen that I could have done the bounce pre-combat there and gotten that extra damage. Again, there's an argument for not doing that because you could play around the rat out. They just have every edge wall pack in the draft pod. We are never blocking for the rest of eternity. But yeah, the just brain fart, brains are stupid punt of just throwing the pig into a 3/3, that's whatever, that just happens. Obviously it's not the right play, but obviously it's not the kind of thing where I had like the wrong idea about how the game was going or something. It's just brain fuzz, just didn't see the 3/3 on board untapped. I mean, so we don't really win this race? Why are they jumping? Just want to play it really safe here? Maybe we can sort of win the race if they go for some chumps. And that slows down the damage we do to them a lot, but clears out their board without losing any cards of our own. That's annoying, but I can make sure I don't die. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. The fact that they get to recast an edge wall pack here is kind of a bummer, but... Oh, they don't, because it costs 1 more to cast. So unless they play another land, they don't even get to replay the pack here, which would be insane. Hold up. Wait, this alchemy bounce might just be the sickest. Oh, well, they had a land. Well, maybe we'll find the white source? Prophetic Prism or something? That's such a sick joke, Arena. It's technically the white source. That's so rude, because now we're just dead. 6, 5, and 2, 2 there, take 5. 6, 5 there, 2, 2 there, take 5. We're literally just dead because they gave us the tapped white source instead of Prism or Utopia Sprawl. Opponent plays it safe, alright. We have 1 more turn to believe. Okay. 2 life. Bounce 1 of the rats to kill it. Then I have to block Totentans and a rat. need them to have like Stone Cold Nothing here. The really sad part about this is if I didn't just like complete brain fart punt away my 2/2, a lot of these turns would have looked a lot better for us too. I think we would just win if I didn't punt away my 2/2. I think we would actually have a really reasonable shot at winning. Yeah, we need them to have nothing, but if they have nothing, we can put our 2/3 on their 2/3. And our 2/2 flyer on a 1/1 here. And again, if we just had like another 2/2 body on this board, it would be so much safer, where it's like even if they have like a little something, we're fine. And we could have maybe stacked up a double block earlier in the game. But it happens, I just forgot Edgeball Pack has the ability to block or something, I don't know. Okay, I only have to block one of these. Any blocks are trades because of Totentanz's ability. I think our best bet is to somehow clear out their blockers and find lethal. Just draw another Gatekeeper or something if they don't have another creature. Just draw Gatekeeper, bounce Totentanz, kill. Oh my lord. Balluna's Gatekeeper, the biggest MVP of all time. It's so good you can punt away your 2/2s. You can just take your Grizzly Bears and just put it directly into the graveyard. And still get there. Oh my god, we did not earn that one. There was a punt that was me not thinking through the game correctly in terms of I should have just bounced a rat pre-combat for an extra point in damage. That is the punt that I'm unhappy with my thought process on it and everything on. And then there was the punt where I attacked a 2/2 into a 3/3, which was just I don't know. The wires get crossed. Things happen. We really did not earn that win, but I'll take it. It means that we are at least breaking even out of this draft pretty much at this point, and we've got a positive record out of this event. Super, super sweet place to be, but apologies to my opponent in the grand scheme of things. That was not fair and balanced Magic in the end. But we are now 4-2, heading into game number 7. And here we are for game 7. We got Gatekeeper turn 2. If we need to bounce something, we've got the Golden Opportunity to set up. And we can grow old together on turn 3. We can get real old real fast. We can play the Song of Double Time on turn 3. Now I've got a Prophetic Prism to have perfect mana as well, which is beautiful. Plus, it's another artifact to sacrifice to the Golden Opportunity if our opponent doesn't immediately blow up our Goose again. Let's go for the Golden Opportunity first, and hope they don't have the super cheap removal for the Goose, and we can get that full card draw thing going this time around. Would be sweet. Would be sweet. Send in the second little pig. And it will jam in for 2. Belligerent to the ball. That's not a removal spell for the Goose. Let's do our thing. Tap an untapped bird, sack an artifact, conjure a golden egg onto the board and draw a card. Find another land. There's nothing I can do for 4 mana. I can for 2 mana bounce the Belligerent, or for 3 mana grow old together. I think I'm gonna slow things down a little bit here. Let's play a tap land and just bounce the Belligerent, even though it means this Gatekeeper's not going to get +1s from the grow old. I just want to stop some of this damage. Although, because they do want to spend 4 mana on the second little pig to make it a 4/4 flyer, maybe it would be better to bounce the pig there. Because now they could just spend 4 and make it a 4/4 flyer and jam in here. I definitely wouldn't want to bounce the pig after they spent the 4 on it, because then they can just recast it for 2 mana as a 4/4 flyer still. Alright. It works out fine for us because they don't dump all the mana into the little pig anyway, but that was something to think about. Yeah, I've got good enough mana here to sack the prism and just use the eggs. Because I can still filter these for 1 mana if I need, but they can also gain life, which I will almost definitely need. This can turn into a 1/4, which might be worth it on blocks. I'd have to sack both eggs to do that, though. A pretty awkward amount of mana here. I can play a 3 mana spell and eat an egg for 3 life, I guess. Drop a 2/3, or I can grow old together. I guess a 2/3 at least blocks a 2/1 well, but if I grow old together first, then this turns into a 3/4, and I might draw a 2 mana creature. Yeah, let's grow old together. Well, not exactly a 2 mana creature, but certainly a good card that I can cast for 2 mana. I don't know what I was expecting. That's what I should expect every time. We have 5 gatekeepers and we're seeking 10 cards deep. So on average, grow old together is just like draw 2 gatekeepers, which is just nuts. All right, now our Ice Rot Sentry is a 3 mana 3/4, which looks really good. This game, a 3/4 vigilance on the board against all these 3/3s and 2/1s and stuff. All right, Belligerent is back. No celebration, we just take 4. Okay, so now we have 6 mana. I can use 2 gatekeepers and make a food with the goose. Or I can just play a 3/4 blocker and bounce Belligerent again. Let's definitely get a 3/4 blocker at least. I might just not even be bouncing something this turn. I guess I could have just jammed out a 7/6 at that point if I'm not bouncing something. But I'm kind of interested in maybe using Loch Laurent and scrying 3, locking down their next play. I've got 6 life of food to eat. I'm at 11. Hit me for 4 in the sky. Probably get a Menace Swing through the Sentry. Although if it's a Menace Swing, I can double block. I think I can afford to do this, but it's going to be painful. Find a Twining Twins and a Paths of Twinvale. I kind of want Paths of Twinvale the most. Because I can have 8 mana next turn. I can play a 7/6 and I can use Goose for the instant speed bounce, maybe? An instant speed bounce does seem like a pretty big deal for messing with the upcoming combats. But I do like both of those cards. Okay, Corvold and the Noble Thief doesn't do much right now. It does trigger Celebration, but it doesn't draw them any extra cards. Till chapter 3. Which will be after I draw both the cards I just scryed into, so then hopefully it's just poop after that. Alright, well, show me the gas here. Hopefully there is not gas. I might have to try to kill the little pig. for its potential to be a flyer. No, let's try to kill the belligerent still, I think. I don't think either kill is going to work. It seems like they have something, probably. We got to go for it, though. Because I'm at 11. I go to 3 life if I just let it all in. I do have multiple food tokens on board and the ability to maybe make more. We'll see. Okay, it is an Archon's Glory for the +2/+2. Save the belligerent. Cool. So, play a 7/6 and hold up a bounce spell? I'm at 6 life if I do that? Or do I just bounce and eat some food? I'm gonna see how tricksy we can get with a bounce spell here. The Gilded Goose can sack a food for a man of any color, that's why we can hold up a bounce spell here. The Paths of Twin Veil being the instant speed bounce. Because of the double treasure token, it does kind of feel like they're going to have enough mana up here to dump into multiple tricks and removal spells and stuff. Multiple ways to pressure through for lethal. Might just die. So that shoots me every time I cast something with mana value 3 or less, which is rough. That is Belligerent's Celebration as well, because they got the treasure at the start of the main phase. Okay, Godric is the one that really kills me though, wow. That is gonna be what we bounce, but then they just play it again next turn and kill me with it anyway, because it's haste. Flying, haste, fire breathing. Card's just nuts. Okay, we got a Paths pre-damage here. Because otherwise I take 5 and then I use Paths and die to Viper. Now I need to hold up Gilded Goose and Twining Twins so that I can double block the Flying Menacing threat and have the twins kill it. But I would lose my goose and my twins and I'm going to die to everybody else. But that's what I've got here. That is what I have available. 4 mana up. I can make and eat a food. Or bounce a belligerent. Or a little pig. Let's bounce the belligerent, because I don't see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, they don't have the mana to replay Godric and belligerent unless they play another land here, because Godric costs 4 because we taxed it with Paths of Twinvale. Alright, let's see what their Corvold and the Noble Thief finds here. Hopefully some garbage, some poop. Out of our top 3, I don't know why I always think it's the top 2. First Little Pig, and a Welcome to Sweet Tooth. Those are not garbage. They're not insane, but they're definitely not garbage. I think their plays are just better right now, though. Although the Noble Thief only lets them play those cards this turn. So they would have to not drop down the Godric and stuff right now if they want to play our cards. Which is fine, they can like exile a Golden Egg, I guess, with the First Little Pig. And get some counters later with the Welcome to Sweet Tooth. The cards do things if they want to grind out a longer game, which is fair. And it looks like they do. There's the Welcome to Sweet Tooth. Actually, hold up. If they play the First Little Pig, I can put it back to my hand. Not that that's the most incredible thing in the universe, but it is helpful. At least. And they're going to play the Belligerent as well this turn. Don't think they're getting damage in this turn with Belligerent. No, they are not. So, do I eat the Golden Egg right now? Or do I make another food with Gilded Goose? What is my plan next turn at this point? Bounce my own little pig and recast it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 mana. 2 to bounce. 2 to play a pig. I have 5 mana left. That's enough to eat 2 food. Sure. Let's get a second food and then just bounce and replay pig. There's an edge wall in. Do I have anything in the grave for that? I don't. But I could end up with a Gatekeeper in the grave pretty realistically. And this can be a black or a white source to help animate the fortress as a blocker. Okay. Let's put my pig back in my hand. This Viper doing such work here. Replay my pig. And be able to eat 2 food. Fortress only gains life on attacks, right? Yeah. Won't gain me 2 on blocks. This Twisted Fealty, just steal one of my creatures and it's GG. Stone Splitter Bolt is also GG. Then I'm gonna have nothing to block Godric. Have any instant speed interaction that works here? Yeah, no. That resolves. At least they can't play the Godric this turn, but we'll have to chump Goose. Or chump with Goose soon enough. Shrouded Shepherd. That's gonna get a big swing in. If they want. They can buff the Belligerent, make it a 6-power creature, which is enough to trade up into the Gatekeeper, even with the Menace here. And they could just attack with everybody, but I can eat 2 food tokens, so that might not work how they want it to if they do attack with everybody. I think that's in our favor. Is this in our favor? Because I can eat 2 food tokens if I need to go to 8 life total. And at 8 life, what is the best plays here? Yeah, I guess I can't block particularly well anyway. I can survive. But they kill my 7/6 and my 2/2. But then I get rid of the Menace providing card. We're running out of road here, folks. And I think I have one more turn, and they're going to kill me with a variety of different potential cards. Next turn. They can make the second little pig jump into the sky and kill me. If they kill Gilded Goose instead of Gatekeeper, they can kill me with Godric or the second little pig here. Grow old together. A little too late, I think. Still probably worth a cast. See what we can get. Yeah, I mean, I'm at 3. I probably should have expected as much. This is the deck that I have drafted. I don't have the mana to bounce something and play a Gatekeeper, which puts me dead on board. I have 2 blockers. I can have 2 blockers and die, or I can have 2 blockers, make a food, eat a food, die to Godric. We're dead in a million ways now. Alright. Yeah. The big threats from our opponent just a little too big. And we just really have not seen the permanent removal half of our deck this game. Did not find the troll or the fight spell here to be able to actually like permanently deal with a Godric, or that Menace card. Being able to clear either of those out I think would have been our best bet. But we simply could not. Alright, I feel like this is the most blocky play I can do. And it still puts me to very dead. Because this is like it's kind of like blocking 3 things. I block with Goose, I block with Familiar, and I bounce something with Gatekeeper. Plus we get to show off our 4th Gatekeeper, which is pretty sick. Actually, I think that's the 5th. Yeah, we found them all. We got the whole collection. That's got to be an achievement unlocked kind of point there. But yeah, no, just get crushed by Godric is the end result. And 4 and 3 is the final result from this deck list, but I don't hate that. I don't hate that. I think it's possible the deck could have done better if we drew some of our spicier, bombier Fawn's Bane Troll style removal in that match, and maybe in some of our other losses hit some of the spicier stuff in the right times, but overall, I think this deck was a really fun deck idea with the 5 Gatekeepers and the double Grow Old together to consistently just hit them. And it did its thing. Even if it's not a trophy run or anything, even at 4 and 3, it really did the thing. We really Gatekeepered all day long and had a lot of perpetual buffs from the Grow Old together. So we did really get to play around with that new Alchemy card there, and that was pretty cool. And we got at least one game where we got to play around with the Golden Opportunity, and the Goose didn't just immediately die, so got to play around with the Golden Goose in the last game too. Even if it's not an excellent result win rate-wise in the end, I think this was still a really fun draft, and I enjoyed this one a lot. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below, where I'm live every Wednesday. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.